welcome to the desert. Now we gotta move up this. I'm literally stuck in this door. We got a nice fire going. Would you look at that? What is going on, people? Welcome to the desert. All right, we are here at the Telluride National Park, and we are going to explore some ancient ruins. We're gonna do some hiking, and we're gonna do some camping overnight in the desert. It's gonna be pretty awesome. Now, how many of you think I can get my fat behind up that hill? We're gonna find out now, aren't we? Come join me, and let's rock and roll. Well, it's nice and steep, and we're walking our way up, all the way up to the top by that fortress. That would be 8th century Judean military. And I'm not gonna lie, looking like it might be a good time to lose a little bit of weight. Obviously, it's the desert, and you're like, why is there all this grass? And that's because it's the middle of the winter and it just rained a lot. But, you know, we're gonna make it. I think we're gonna make it. I don't know. We'll see. Stick with us. Okay, so now we gotta move up this real steep part. This is so great. Let me tell you, time to go on a diet. Still, totally worth it. Like, check this out as I take a convenient fat guy pause. Check out that view. All right, now for anybody who's watched my channel before, you know I am a sucker for a good view. And obviously, there is a reason that there is a fortress here, and that's because it gives you a great view. As we look way off into the Negev, we're looking directly south. So if we kind of just kept going that direction for a couple hundred miles, maybe like 120, not even, we would get to the Dead Sea. Over there, way off in the distance, is the modern city of Arad. That's a bunch of Hasidic people who live in the middle of the Negev Desert. It's okay, nothing to write home about. Most of those people go and they work at the Dead Sea. But incredible, absolutely incredible view. Stunning, gorgeous, crazy nature around here, by the way. If we were to do this in the spring, I'd be watching every step because there are venomous snakes everywhere. Fortunately, they are all in hibernation. That's a big plus for me because I don't want to get bit. I made it. Would you believe it? That was a heck of an ascent. But we did it. A lot of teamwork, mostly my legs. I mean, I think they're big enough to each be a person on their own. So, you know, that counts, right? Check out this. Let me just turn around here. All right, we got our little fort wall. And now we got all this in the background. View for miles. It's awesome. That's great stuff. Can't beat this. So, I have made it inside the fort. And, you know, why a fort? Why am I even at a fort? Because here, you can't separate archaeology from nature. Everywhere you go, in every nature preserve, in every park, there is going to be some bit of ancient history. That's kind of just the nature of the game. You know, the animals are familiar with it. You know, you'll see foxes walking around ruins all the time. With that said, this one's kind of cool. All right, so this is about 8th century BCE, maybe 9th century. Depends on who you ask. And this would probably have been like a border fort for the early kingdom of Judea. And it had everything it needs in it. You know, business centers, synagogues, stuff like that. You know, the two basic things that Jews need. And, you know, it was destroyed, I think, 6 times and rebuilt. Destroyed, rebuilt, destroyed, rebuilt. And at the end of the day, it's still standing. And it still has a heck of a view. But you got my water bottle in there. You can see they just don't build them like they used to. Okay, so as we look from the north of the fortress, you see what begins kind of to be the Judean foothills. The beginning of I want to call it foothills. They'll say mountains here. I'm going to say foothills that go from here where Jerusalem is about in the middle of them and basically go up most of the country until you hit like the Jezreel Valley. If you can tell, there's a little Bedouin shanty town behind there. In fact, there's a lot of them all over the northern part of the Negev Desert. There's these little Bedouin shanty towns. They kind of just pop up. They do as they please. And, well, they have some real freedom of autonomy. It's pretty amazing. But that's okay. So, as you can hear by the great echo, we are down here in a little water reservoir. All right? So if you're out in nature, know that there's always water around somewhere. You just got to look. Now, if I really wanted to freeze my butt off, I could probably hang out here all night, but I don't. I don't want to freeze my butt off. I'm going to go camp somewhere different. Let's keep walking around and enjoy ourselves. All right, for those of you who are big limestone fans, welcome to heaven. There is no lack of limestone here, but this stuff just preserves and stays through, and well, it's a good thing that I'm not claustrophobic, although I might be getting there. Pretty crazy, pretty cool, pretty echoous. So as I actually came all the way down, if you can see by my boot, we still got some water coming up. Pretty crazy. Stay natural. And by the way, that's some good stuff for survival right there. That's good drinking water. So when they say people were smaller in ancient times, it's not a joke. I'm literally stuck in this door. I'd have to go in sideways to go into this room. So whenever you hear jokes about that, very real thing. People were smaller. Well, that was pretty awesome. Now we're going to start heading down, and there's a few other sites I want to look at, and then maybe we'll get in a little walk on those hills, and we'll start setting up camp. So much fun, and stick with me, baby. Let's have some fun. When you look at that, folks, we're looking directly east towards. Basically, if you kept going in that direction, you would get to the Dead Sea. That's what would happen, but it looks like something out of a cartoon. It's, I don't know, 2:30 in the afternoon or something. It's windy as heck, but it's wild, man. Look at that. Looks like a painting. Yeah, even with that little truck at the bottom, I know. Still, absolutely stunning and gorgeous. So I've gone off trail a little bit, and I really kind of just wanted to share this moment of like absolute serenity. The wind is blowing like crazy. I'm a little cold, but when the desert's green, and you're right along here, kind of along the side of the hill, this is it. This is what it's all about right here. This is why we go outside, because this is just beautiful. All right, this is what it's all about. Let's head on. So we are inside the remains of an ancient Canaanite pagan temple. In general, if you're traveling in the Middle East in general, whether it's big cities or if you're like me and you want to get out in nature, you're going to see this everywhere from Israel and the Levant all the way through Syria, Lebanon, Iraq, Iran, Jordan, all these places. You're going to see stuff like this around, because this is like, well, this is where society starts. Okay, we're hunter-gatherers, and then as you can see, we start some very basic building stuff with just stones and clay. So if you're traveling the region, just get used to seeing this all over. So we are now in what is basically a very typical Canaanite house. As you can see, it's not very big. So, it's basically, as we kind of move around, it's like the size of an apartment in like Manhattan. All right? Just minus the exorbitant rent. But if you were out hiking about, one of the things that you can do if you're looking for shelter is you can always find ruins around here. And you can take shelter in them. I've done it before. Caves are another common one. So, you know, you can use it as part of the survival landscape for those of you who are doing a lot more of the survival thing. Just something to keep in mind. So, it's time to get the tent set up. It's time to get going on the camp. Because of where I am in the Northern Negev, I am using an actual, like, campground. And that's because the Northern Negev can be a little bit of the Wild West. You have a lot of little shanty towns amongst the Bedouin, who are mostly generally hospitable, nice folks, but you do have a lot of organized crime there. So we're ready to go all out survivalist and just kind of pop myself somewhere on a sand dune or on a hill. I could wake up to basically a Tuscan Raider situation. Okay, I'm not doing that. We're ready to go much further south, probably north, depends on which way north. But in this case, we're going to use an actual campground. So, let's laugh at me putting up my tent. Well, it doesn't look like much, but it's my little nice survivor packable tent. All right, it's really small, doesn't even have poles, but you got your cord to strap it to a tree, and it's got enough room for me to sleep, and that's really all you need. Pretty nice. So, we've gotten our little tiny survival tent set up. This is going to be very interesting. I am praying that this thing doesn't fall in on me. Whatever. I'll survive. Obviously, we're in the desert. It gets a lot colder at night. As you can see, I put on my jacket. Gonna get ready for that. And now it's time to get working on some fire, baby. All right. I don't want no jackals, cats, or striped hyenas taking my dinner. So let's get to work. So as the sun gets ready to set, we're gonna get one final look up the hill at the fort. And we're gonna go start getting some campfire ready. We're gonna start getting some other stuff going on. Just rock and roll. So of course I had to come up and get the sunset shot over the hills. Ever so scenic, ever so beautiful. I mean, how do you beat this? We got some dinner going here. We're getting some hamburgers going, and we got tomato soup mix boiling up. Obviously, give you a little designated area that you can do the fire. But you know what? That's okay. I can live with that. I'm fat and I'm hungry, so I got a lot of burgers to make and a lot of soup to eat. Let's rock and roll, baby. Well, that was delicious. Like, so delicious. And literally, I was so hungry I forgot to film. Kind of embarrassing, but that's okay. All you missed was a fat guy eating. Not that great. Not that amusing. We got a nice fire going. We're going strong here. We're getting a little warm. It's definitely chilly out. So goes the nature of the desert. So I'm just going to sit and kind of enjoy myself by the fire for a little bit. And then, I don't know, maybe I'll explore. Maybe I'll turn in. You know, it's still pretty early. I would love to get some wildlife photos if possible. And, well, they all come out at night. So, stay tuned. This fire is feeling so good. My legs are warming up real nicely. Got the gloves out. The hat is chilly out, but that's okay, because we're getting hot. Feeling good. Going into the desert night. Oh, good morning. Buenos dias. It's cold. The ground is hard. And it's time to get the show on the road. It's morning in the desert. Looks really nice though, doesn't it? Anyway, time to get the show on the road. Get some coffee in my system, because no coffee, no me. So for breakfast this morning, we will have pita, hummus, coffee, and protein bars. Very exciting stuff. And then it's time to hit the road. Yum, yum, yum. All right, that's breakfast, and now it's time to break down camp and get the show on the road and head on out. Well, folks, that about wraps it up for today. I hope you enjoyed a little bit of archaeology, a little bit of camping, and a whole lot of fun. Don't forget to click like and subscribe, and we'll see you next time.